Hello, Eternal Life fans. I just came from my first Trump rally with my roommate, and it was amazing. So I got home and I decided, you know what, this would be a great time to show you guys another recipe, a health video. So this one's going to be about one of my favorite foods, green beans. I eat a lot of green beans. They're a really healthy vegetable. Now, green beans, okay, green. You gotta get your green in your diet. Chlorophyll, right there. Green like Tinkerbell, okay? Or green like Pepe the Frog, if you're into Pepe. Green's a great color, so get your greens in your diet. And cooking food is awesome. Because no one wants to eat a raw green bean, you know? Can you imagine eating a raw green bean? It'd be pretty gross, right? So, we're gonna cook the green beans, and I'm gonna tell you some of the health benefits of green beans. So any old cooker. Now when it comes to cooking vegetables, you want to be steaming your vegetables and not boiling them. Now boiling them's okay if you're gonna be drinking the water, but when you boil vegetables in water, a lot of the minerals go into the water. So what I typically do is, unless you're making a soup, I like to steam my vegetables. And so yeah, once again, I think this really just shows that, you know, the raw food diet is kind of silly, because why wouldn't you eat some cooked vegetables? When you cook vegetables, you break down all the fiber. You make it so much more easy to digest on your body. And you absorb the minerals better. A lot of the nutrients become more bioavailable when you cook them. So I generally steam my vegetables until it's pretty tender, and then you're going to be able to digest it so much easier. I mean, have you ever had raw vegetables and you get gas? That's because you're not digesting them. They're fermenting in your colon and they're causing gas. A lot of raw foodists tell me that they get horrible digestive distress because they're always eating these raw vegetables, or they're just, because they're raw foodists, they're not eating enough vegetables to get the minerals, because they don't like to get all this gas all the time. Well, you could solve this problem by just cooking your vegetables. Fire! So I cooked a bunch of green beans. Now, I haven't gotten to the health benefits of green beans yet, so let me get into that a little bit. First, let me just dump these here. So, green beans have a lot of health benefits, but my favorite health benefit of green beans is their silica content. Of all the vegetables, green beans are one of the highest sources of silica. Now, silica is really good for your skin. It's good for your hair. It's good for your bones, your teeth. It's a strengthening mineral. It even strengthens heart muscles, including the heart itself. So it's good for strengthening the integrity, the structure of the heart. Word on the street is that silica can even help detoxify aluminum from the brain. So what you want is to detoxify, and silica can actually help detoxify that heavy metal out of your brain. That's the word on the street, okay? I don't know for sure, but that's what they're saying.
I know what it's feeling, and it feels like my brain is dying, and everything I've worked for in my entire life is going.
So what else about green beans? Nutritionally, they're very high in vitamin K. Now, vitamin K is important for your body for building collagen. And green beans also have manganese. So I mentioned silica for bone health. Manganese, also good for bone health and for, teeth health, things like that. So I consider green beans one of the best foods for your teeth.
Look at those teeth. You have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you.
You have lovely. Look at those teeth. Man, is that a set of teeth.
The great thing about green beans also is they're very high in protein. It's easier to digest protein. So I'm a fan of legumes. Okay, so I'm not an anti-legume person. A lot of paleo dieters speak against the legumes. Of course, a lot of raw foodists would be against legumes because they're not cooking them, and you can't really digest raw legumes. You need to cook them to get rid of some of the anti-nutrients. It's the fact that they cook so well, steaming them very quickly, they'll cook in like 10 minutes. So you can't do that with like a dried bean, like a garbanzo bean or a dried kidney bean. Like, you couldn't steam them. But green beans are different. They actually digest more like a vegetable and not a protein food like a legume. So they're kind of unique in that way. Even a lot of paleo dieters will make the exception for green beans. They won't eat legumes, they won't eat these other things, but they'll make the exception for green beans because they're so different in the way they digest nutritionally. They're more like a vegetable. So, when I'm done steaming the green beans, what I do is you can season them with some Kerrygold butter. Now, I generally use raw butter, but when I don't have raw butter, I go to Kerrygold as my backup. It's good because it's grass-fed. It's very important with butter to get grass-fed. Now, the cool thing is when you put the butter on your green beans, once they're done cooking, just steam them until they're really soft and tender and just test them, probably about 10 to 15 minutes. And they should be tender, so you melt the butter on there. And then you can put some, if you like some flavoring, you can put some sea salt on there. I use Celtic sea salt. Don't go overboard with the sea salt, but sea salt's great because it actually helps you digest your vegetables more. Because sea salt has a lot of chloride. It's sodium chloride are the main two minerals, but there's a lot of other minerals in sea salt. But mainly sodium chloride. Chloride is important for building stomach acid. So it actually helps you digest the fiber. Though they're cooked, they're still going to have some fiber in there, so it's helpful to have a strong hydrochloric acid in your stomach to break down that fiber, absorb the minerals. Very important. So sea salt can actually help you do that. Some people on very, very low salt diets end up with weak stomach acid, so they actually develop mineral deficiencies because it's just such weak stomach acid. And stomach acid is necessary for absorbing minerals. But also, you can get sea salt where they add, like this sea salt, for instance, has where they add a bunch of different seaweeds, dried seaweed flakes into the sea salt. So this is actually a good source of iodine. Iodine is super important for the immune system. It's super important for the brain. Iodine is going to help ward off dementia and Alzheimer's disease and all of these neurodegenerative diseases. Super, super important. And like I said, good for your immune system. So make sure you get your iodine. So now that just about does it for the flavoring. I mean, you could flavor them with whatever you want, but stick to natural whole herbs. I generally might squeeze some lemon on my green beans or some black pepper. So there's that. When you put butter on your vegetables, it actually helps absorb the minerals even more. The whole purpose of eating is to absorb your food. Now, butter has fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and K, too. And those vitamin D and K2 help absorb the minerals in your vegetables. So it actually helps uptake the minerals, and you're going to be utilizing the minerals more if you eat it with some fat-soluble vitamins. A lot of people are deficient in K2, and this is like this recipe with the butter and the green beans is like a super recipe for strong bones and healthy teeth. When you eat too much fruit, okay, I've experienced with this. In the past I used to eat way too much fruit, damaged my teeth, and I wouldn't have run into troubles if I had stuck with eating stuff like green beans and some grass-fed butter, because I was deficient in vitamin K2. When you're deficient in vitamin K2, your teeth can start to fall apart, your bone density weakens, so definitely don't become deficient in vitamin K2. Just include some grass-fed butter in your diet, and you should be fine. You probably heard people talk about cholesterol being bad for you. I don't think that's true. When it's grass-fed, it's such a different food. So these these studies they're doing on dairy and cholesterol, you have to ask yourself, are they using grass-fed butter in these studies, or are they just using conventional butter where the cows have been eating grains and all kinds of, injected with hormones? And you got to think about the type of dairy they're using in the studies. That, it's not even equivalent. This butter compared to the normal average butter you're getting at the store, it's such a different food.
Yeah, what are you eating?
Some piece of butter. It's yummy.
Can I see? Here, let me see. Oh, nummy. Oh.
Can you go put it back in the fridge? Alright, so I forgot about telling you guys about the water. So when you steam your vegetables, obviously you're gonna have a different pot set up or whatever. I have a electric pot here. It's great for steaming, very convenient. But when you're steaming the vegetables, make sure you use purified water, because if you use tap water, it's gonna have chlorine in it, and chlorine is a halogen, and it will go up into the steam will bring the chlorine into your vegetables. So stick with a pure water that doesn't have chlorine in it. Yeah, so tell me what vegetable, if you have any questions about vegetables, or tell me what kind of food you want me to talk about. If you have any questions about what vegetables you should be eating, or what foods, dietary questions, leave them below. Thank you for listening, and let's live forever. Vote for Trump 2016 if you want to live forever.